time to. That's okay. Yeah, please. I just don't know. Laura's a supporter. I don't know. She is a strong person. She's got strong opinions, and I don't know what she said, but that's not up to me. She's a supporter. Please.
With you on your plane.
Okay, a lot of people do. It's a very big plane.
She made racist remarks about your opponent.
It is a big plane.
About conspiracy theories about 9/11. Do you disavow those remarks?
Well, I have to see what the remarks are. You're telling me for the first time we're here discussing the destruction of San Francisco and California by a person that's running for president. So I don't even know what you're talking about. I do know that she may have said something based on what you're telling me, but I don't know what she said. But I'll go take a look and I'll put out a statement later on. But I really don't know. Please.
Springfield, Ohio is experiencing a migrant crisis. Will you
Yes.
an event there to show the media what's actually happening?
Well, we could, and maybe we'll do that. Where are you from? That's good. Very good. They're doing a very good job. Yeah, it's very good. No, I will, maybe Springfield, maybe Aurora, maybe both. We'll go there. I can say this, we will do large deportations from Springfield, Ohio. Large deportations. We're going to get these people out. We're bringing them back to Venezuela. You know, he told Biden he's not accepting anybody back. They moved all their criminals. Not all of them, but the rest are moving in now. They emptied their jails in Venezuela, emptied their criminals, emptied the nests. They call them nests of bad people. They're all now in the United States, and they're now taking over cities. It's like an invasion from within. And we're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country. And we're going to start with Springfield and Aurora.
There you go.
The mayor of Springfield, Ohio, the police chief, the Republican governor of Ohio have all debunked this story about people leaving pets. And now there are bomb threats at schools and kids being evacuated. Why do you still spread
No.
this story?
The real threat is what's happening at our border. Because you have thousands of people being killed by illegal migrants coming in and also dying. You have women dying as they come up. They're coming up in large groups. We call it a caravan. I think I came up with that name, but it's really what it is. 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people. And you have large numbers of women being killed in those caravans coming up to this country. And then when they get here, they can go into the country and they end up being sex slaves and everything else. Those are your real problems, not the problem that you're talking about. Yeah, okay.
Question. So you just said that you'll carry out the largest mass deportation of illegal immigrants. How are you going to have, for example, Governor Gavin Newsom or officials in sanctuary cities comply with that?
Well, you know, if you go to the people of California, they don't want to have sanctuary cities anymore. They're tired of sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities are really blocks that protect bad people from deportation and other problems.
That's right.
And they're going to do it. And our federal government has tremendous power. But we're not going to let states, even like California, even though I know it's largely a sanctuary state, essentially, but we're not going to let that happen to the people of California. They want these people out. They're just as scared as everybody else. The people of Ohio are scared. The people of Colorado, you have a governor there who's very weak. He doesn't know what to do. And he doesn't want to talk about it. A lot of it, as per your question, they don't want to talk about what's happening. They say it's so bad for the city. Let's not go public. Let's live with it for a little while. Maybe it'll go away. It's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. It's going to get so bad. You know what we're experiencing now is they're just getting settled in. There's 21 million people that have come in. They're just getting settled in. It's going to get much worse. It's going to get worse at a level like nobody's ever seen before. Go ahead.
Question regarding the economy. We're seeing more and more companies are shipping their jobs overseas, but
Yeah.
looking for white collar jobs.
Right.
They're having problems with that. We've been seeing mass layoffs. How are we going to prevent these white collar jobs from being
By lowering taxes and regulations. And what they're doing is they're seeing that every time it looks like Kamala's doing well, companies want to leave. Stock markets go down. The stock market, there's a great gentleman, Scott Bessent, who is one of the top Wall Street people. He said the market's only up because they all think that Trump is going to get elected. We had a great stock market. Even with COVID, we ended up handing over a market that was higher than previous to COVID or the China virus coming in. No, we are going to make sure that the taxes are going to stay where they are and or come down, ideally come down, both for the middle class and for corporations, because corporations put the people to work. We had the best numbers in the history of our country by far, not even close. And there are companies leaving because they cannot stand what's happening right now to our country. And one of the reasons I'm doing this today is to let them know you're not going to have to leave because we're going to take care of the problem. They have a tremendous crime problem. Like if you're in Los
I
Angeles,
see
look
a
at the
brave
crime.
man, Eric.
And then you have the FBI lying about the numbers, saying the numbers went down. But anybody with common sense know the numbers are through the roof. I didn't know they were as high as they are. But think of it. How good is a person from a government agency that would release the numbers when they saw that I was unfairly targeted by ABC, and you could say by the FBI with false numbers. So I have great respect. I have to find out who that person is or who that group is, but I have great respect. Go ahead, one more.
North Korea, Kim Jong-un, he just toured a uranium facility. The U.S. is saying that Iran is sending ballistic missiles to Russia. How, if reelected, how would you address the situation with our adversaries?
I'll be able to make phone calls and solve most of the problems. I may actually have to meet a couple of times. But, Viktor Orban, and you've heard me say this, but it wasn't long ago, he said the only way you're going to solve the world problem is Trump has to be president again. And I don't say it. I didn't say it. I sort of would be embarrassed to say it. But he said everybody was afraid of Trump. He said China was afraid, Russia was afraid, North Korea was afraid. Everybody was afraid. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks, and they said it was going to take 5 years, right? The generals in Washington. I went there and met a great general and some great people. And I said, go to it. And he took them out in 4 weeks, 100% of the ISIS caliphate. I flew there. I flew to Iraq, to the field, and they took them out in a very short period of time, short order. We have a great military, but, a great military needs a leader. If you don't have leaders, then you end up with Afghanistan, the worst withdrawal from a country in the history. Look, I've gotten to know great people. I went to Arlington at their request, and I stood, and I was with them for hours. And I stood with them. They did a ceremony, and then they asked me if I'd go down to the graves of their children. They called them their children, that they always will be their children. And there were tears all over, as there should be. And they said, sir, could you take pictures with me by the grave of my son, in one case, a daughter? And I said, I'd love to. And I took pictures with them for a while, and then I left, and that was it. And I got home, and I got a call from the people in the campaign. Sir, the Biden people are saying that you did this for publicity. If people knew how hard it was to get there, because I was coming from a location that was very far away, and yet they were having the ceremony, and I really felt, I had them up to Bedminster, most of the family members, and I got to know them. They're great people. Their sons and daughter, just as though Kamala shot them with a pistol in her hand or his hand, they were killed by Biden and Kamala. They were killed. They should have never left from that airfield. They should have left for Bagram. We should have never given up Bagram. Bagram now is controlled by China. The reason we shouldn't have given it up was not because of Afghanistan. The reason we shouldn't have given it up, 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons, and I wasn't giving it up. We were getting out quickly and effectively. I'm the one that got the numbers down to less than 5,000 soldiers. But I would have never left unless they fulfilled their obligations under an agreement. I had a wonderful agreement, but the agreement said you have to do this, this, this. They didn't do 3 of the first 5 things, so therefore they would have done it. Abdul was the leader, and he wouldn't have done it, and he would have never done that to us. And just in finishing up with that, and I appreciate the question, actually, but in finishing up with that, for 18 months, spoke to Abdul over the phone. For 18 months, not one American soldier was shot or killed. Not one American soldier was even shot.
Never forget that,
Abdul
people. This
understood.
is the president
Don't do it. I
of
said,
peace.
Don't do it, Abdul. Don't do it.
Peaceful,
For
peaceful,
18
all the
months, Not
time.
one soldier was even shot at. And that's the way it's supposed
You want
to be.
peace, you
And then
vote for
they had
Trump.
That horrible situation
Especially
with the
you,
13
Eric.
dead, leaving billions of dollars.
Young
of
enough to
equipment
go to
behind.
war, you better
And
vote for
leaving a lot of
Trump.
Americans behind. A lot of Americans. And you know what else? Leaving a lot of soldiers badly wounded. Nobody ever talks about them, but I do.
All you young people think you're looking at an old man. What you're looking at is the bravest man in this country who wants to save your sorry ass from going to a war that you'd have nothing to do with. That's who he is. So, Eric, if you don't want to go to war,
Well, I
you
would have
better
a great
vote for Trump.
relationship with them. And what you have to do is start
Don't be
all over
stupid.
again. You cannot have these policies of high taxation. You can't have these policies.
This is
of
the president of
politics
peace
when
you are looking
go
at
after
right
your
now.
Politicians. You have to have an honest voting system because you don't have an honest voting system. They send out millions and millions of ballots. They go all over the place. Some people get 2, 3,
War
4,
is hell.
5. You have a very dishonest system over here. If I ran with an honest vote counter in California, I would win California. But the votes are not counted honestly. It's a very dishonest system that you have in California. And I'd make it business friendly. Right now, it's business unfriendly. Look, Elon Musk is a friend of mine. He endorsed me very powerfully. He endorses me every time he speaks. He really wants to see us win because he knows we can do a great job and turn it around. He left California.
Try
I said to
Carolyn.
him, Elon, did anybody ever call you? It's a big company. He moved to Texas. A lot of people moving to Texas. Great state. Excellent governor, an excellent lieutenant governor. Great people. They love entrepreneurs. They love the people that live there. They want to keep their taxes low. Taxes are way too high here. But I said to Elon, so you have a big company and you're moving it to Texas from California. Did anybody call you, like the governor, to try and get you to stay? No. Did anybody see you, write a letter, do anything to try and keep you to stay? You have thousands of jobs.
Nervous
He
about
said,
that
nobody ever
boat.
called. There'd be so many things you could do.
The boat,
This
you
would be the
guys.
easiest place to turn around if they knew what to do. Look at it. I mean, look at the weather. We're standing out here on the Pacific Ocean in the most beautiful weather. A lot of states don't have weather like this. They don't have Pacific
I
Oceans.
don't like it.
So it's many things you could do, but you start with lowering taxes and making it friendly. But think of it, Elon Musk, a great guy, brilliant guy, big company, lots of jobs, leaving. Nobody even calls him
Where's that boat? There
to
it
try
is.
and get him to stay. I would have been on him. I would have said, let's have lunch, let's have dinner. And
I'm
then let's
worried
have
about him all the
breakfast
time
following
now.
morning, right? I would have tried to talk him out of it.
They want to kill
Yeah, go ahead,
him.
please.
Listen to these hyenas.
What value do
They
you
hate
think
him.
consumer brings to you? And has nobody told
The only person who can save this country, and they hate him.
No, I don't know that much about it. No, I don't. I know she's a big fan of the campaign, but I really don't know.
It's hard to hear the
I
press, by
would
the
say
way.
that, well, she brings a spirit to us that a lot of people have. We have very spirited people. And in all fairness to her, she hates seeing what's happened to the country, I guess. I mean, she hates seeing what's happened to
We
the
all-
country. So do I. It's very sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad when I have to stand out here on my property and say how bad California is. Do you have another one?
And getting back to some questions that matters to the people of California, there are a lot of folks here who feel like they are forgotten men and women. The state
They
government
are.
doesn't seem to care, but you are coordinating with the local mayor. What can you do to help this community either now or when you get elected?
Well, we're going to help them. And I told John, the local mayor, but I told John we're going to help him with his slide problem. You know, there are ways of fixing that. We discussed it. He knows
She asked
better
about the
than anybody.
forgotten men and women of
And he needs help
California.
from the federal government. He needs help from the state government.
I guess
and
the homeless.
it's a very wealthy area, but you also have people living here that are elderly and have fixed incomes and have houses that are going to be, you know, shoved into the Pacific Ocean if something's not done. And he wants it taken care of. He's a great mayor. He wants it taken care of. He wants nothing for himself. He just wants to help these people. And John, I think you said you have about 600 houses on the site that's sliding. And he'd like to be able to save those houses for people, that some of which will never be able to have a house again. You know, it's
They
pretty
build
sad.
their houses in areas that are susceptible to rock slides and mudslides. Californians are crazy.
No,
They
I'm
don't
saying
think
no.
about the
I mean,
future,
I
these
use it as
people.
a method of getting out my word. You know, when it opened,
They built their
we
homes
had-
in bad
the SEC gave
places.
us nothing but problems. We had to
Sorry,
go through a
just
long,
saying.
long process with the SEC. But people think that I'm leaving. That's why they're down. Because if I leave, you know, it's different if I leave. But I'm not leaving. I love it. I think it's great. Mechanically, it works the best. And again, I'm friendly with Elon, and Elon would love me to come over to X. But I just, you know, have close to 100 million people on X. I had 230 million people on X, and then they shut me down. And I said, I'm not going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
You know that I had hundreds of millions of people on X and Facebook and Instagram.
Sure did.
I think more than anybody. Zuckerberg told me at the White House, he said, congratulations, you're number one on Facebook. This is a number of years ago. And then all of a sudden I went from being number one to having no voice.
Oh, I
And
know
after
that
about 2 or
feels on
3 weeks, 'cause I have
Facebook.
a lot to say, I put out old-fashioned press statements, like a press statement. And they got really successful and they did very well. And then we built this platform. And the reason I built it is because I don't want to have my voice shut down. But a lot of people think that I'll sell my shares. You know, they're worth billions of dollars, but I don't want to sell my shares. I'm not going to sell my shares. I don't need money. And it is for me, it's a great voice. It's a great voice. And it's a voice, it works so well. And we just won, as you know, we got final approval from the SEC. It took us a long time. And that really turned it off. You know, when I originally opened that stock, it went from about 2 to about 182. Did you know that? It was the biggest increase in the history of the stock market. I believe, you know, I have to say I believe because you're going to find one company, maybe, who knows. But I believe it was the single biggest movement. And I think I was worth 61 billion from that one stock. And then we had nothing but problems with the SEC. And it gets whittled down. But I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I really wanted to have a strong voice. And it's a great voice for me. And as long as my voice is on there, it's going to always be good. But a lot of people think the reason it's down is that a lot of people think I'm going to sell. And if I sell, it wouldn't be the same. I could understand that. But I have absolutely no intention of selling. Okay?
You heard it from the horse's mouth. But they'll lie about it anyway.
Community of Palos Verdes. You talk about California. We have fires raging to the east. There's the
I agree.
wildfires
I
there.
agree.
What will you do to help people in this state whose homes are being damaged again and again, or are falling off of these cliffs right behind us,
Yeah.
or burned down, or for the people of
She's
California
asking about the
whose homes
California
were jeopardized
fires.
by natural disaster?
This is my favorite question of the day. You're asking me
He
what
looks
would I do
excited.
let's talk California first. Is that okay? You mind? So I was riding with Devin Nunes and some congressmen 4 years ago. I was riding up north in California. And I looked at these fields that were massive. I was telling John, right?
I love
My favorite
the Trump
question.
accordion.
I love that somebody would ask me this question.
Trump
and I never
accordion.
told you to do it, right? Who are you with? Good. Spectrum. It's good. New, hot, right? It's hot. It's doing well. But that's because you ask good questions. So what happened?
Mhm.
I'm saying why I look at this field and it's massive. And in the middle of the field is a little spot of the most green, plush land you've ever seen. I said, and then I'd see another one. These little plots, like 1 and 2 acres. And you'd have 1,000 acres that's barren and dead and dark. And I said, what's the problem here? What is that green acreage? You know, the soil is unbelievably fertile, but they have no water. I said, so do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. We have the
Other
water is
people are
cut
talking
off
about the
upstate,
boats now,
up
too.
in the north, you know that? And the water, in order to protect a certain little tiny fish called the
Those
smelt,
boats out there, I don't like them.
they send millions and millions of gallons of water out to the Pacific Ocean, way up north. Never even gets close to here. And you know, in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, all these
Look
rich
at this
areas,
boat right behind
they
Trump.
want to
I don't like it at
give
all.
you like
Get that boat away
38
from him.
gallons of water to use.
That
You
boat
buy a
is
house for a lot of
lurking.
money, and then you're allowed to use 38 gallons of water. But you have no water down here. And the reason you have no water, you have the canals. The reason you have no water is because Gavin Newsom didn't want to do it. I had it all done. I had the Department of Commerce at the time, believe it or not. They're
I
the
hope
ones
you're
that
right,
rule
Carolyn.
on
I
this
hope it's
particular issue.
security.
So you have millions of gallons of water pouring down from the north with the snow caps in Canada and all pouring down. And they have essentially a very large faucet. And you turn the faucet, and it takes 1 day to turn it. It's massive. It's as big as the wall of that building right there behind you. And you turn that, and all of that water goes aimlessly into the Pacific. And if they turned it back, all of that water would come right down here and right into Los Angeles. They wouldn't have to have people not use more than 30 gallons and 32 gallons. They want to do that, you know, they're trying to do that. And you have so much water, and all those fields that are right now barren, the farmers would have all the water they needed. and you could revert water up into the hills where you have all the dead forests, where the forests are so brittle. Because no place is like California. I go to Austria. The head of Austria tells me, we have trees that are much more flammable than what you have in California. We never have forest fires because they maintain their forests. And
That's
you
the
have all
reason.
water that could be used as water, what they call water flow, where the where the land would be damp.
They're very bad at
And
tree
you'd stop many of these
forestation in
horrible fires that are costing
California,
billions and billions of dollars by the federal government, etc.
run by very
So one
stupid
thing I'm going to
people.
do for California, vote for me, California. I'm going to give you safety. I'm going to give you a great border. And I'm going to give you more water than almost anybody has. And the farmers up north are going to be able to use 100% of their land, not 1% of their land. And the water is going to come all the way down to Los Angeles. And you're going to have more water than you ever saw. And the smelt is not making it anyway. In fact, they make and grow smelt because it dies all the way up and down the line, and they put stuff that was artificially made. You know that. So you're going to have water in California at a level that you've never seen before. The farmers are going to do great. Those fields are going to be all green instead of 1% green.
Make America
And
great
maybe even more
again.
important, you're not going to have illegal immigrants
Make
pouring into your
California
country
great
and killing
again.
your family. You're not going to have the problems that you have right now. We're going to lower your taxes. We're going to bring the car industry back because your car industry is gone. We're bringing it back to Detroit at levels that you'll never see again. We'll bring it back to better than it was 30 years ago.
Woo!
But with this group, everything is dead. The automobile industry is dead.
It's a cult
The
of
water
death.
coming here is dead. And Gavin Newsom is going to sign those papers. And if he doesn't sign those papers, we won't give him money to put out all his fires. And if we don't give him the money to put out his fires, he's got problems. He's a lousy governor. And he treated me very nicely, and I treated him very nicely when I was president. But he's done a lousy job. But there's a case. I said, Gavin, will you sign? It took him like a month and a half or 2 months, and then he decided for political reasons. And then we got hit with COVID, and we had to solve another problem. But you're going to have so much money, Mr. Mayor. You're going to have so much money from economic activity and growth. And you're going to have water like you never thought. Now, in your case, maybe you don't want so much water. But we'll bypass your beautiful area. But we have tremendous amounts, millions of gallons of water that's shoved right into the Pacific Ocean where it doesn't make a dent. And all of that water is going to take care of California. And nobody can make a bigger promise than that. You're not going to have to do
Trump can do
desalination
it.
plants, which a lot of people want to do, very expensive to do, but it's better than the alternative of no water. So California, vote for Trump, and you're going to have water, and you're going to have growth, and you're going to have prosperity, and all those people that are leaving are going to really come back. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Steve Garvey, why not? Why have you not
Will you endorse
Steve
Steve Garvey? Will you endorse Steve Garvey?
Go Steve
All right, ladies
Garvey.
and gentlemen, what an
All right, you guys.
absolute monster.
So, President Trump makes it clear again that our country is in decline and failing from really bad policies. And California is one of the worst. It's amazing. Such a beautiful state, so full of opportunity. The Golden State, they call it, I believe. I don't know. I'm in the Sunshine State. I love it here. But California, what a crazy place. Just the fact that they have fire season. Can you imagine fire season? Well, we have a hurricane season, but I don't know. That seems a little bit different than fire season. I can go out in a hurricane and get wet. Going out in a fire sounds like a bad idea. Anyway, I'm not saying either one is better, but I don't know. Somehow I prefer hurricane season to fire season, but that's the way it is. But President Trump is also talking about the landslides in California. And landslides are a huge problem. Why? Because Californians do not deal with forestry very well. And they take away all the trees that are anchoring the ground. And California is very apt to have mudslides and rock slides and stuff like that. Thank you, Carolyn. California's an interesting ecosystem over there, very different from Florida. And that Pacific Ocean, man, that place is cold, 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 cold. Don't want to go in that ocean. But anyway, if anybody can save California, it's President Trump. And I love how he calls their governor new scum, because he's scum. And he has, along with Cackles, destroyed the once great state of California. I hope all the Trumpers there can unite and finally, I mean, do you realize that you cannot even vote for a Republican in California because they've been run out on a rail, for real. Now they're all in Texas or something like that. Anyway, those Trumpers left in California, you love your state, please fight tooth and nail. I know that it's also overrun with the migrant population. I know we're not allowed to say that they are illegal, but most of them are. The Haitians, however, apparently are not illegal. They are being pumped in here, courtesy of Cackles and the old man, who walks around lately looking like a Trump supporter. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on there, but it's crazy. Politics, really crazy, especially these days. You know, I've always been a journalist, but I was never really into politics. That wasn't my thing. My journalist integrity kept me away from politics. And the stories I liked to write were stories about regular people doing cool things in the community. That's the kind of stuff I like. School children. I liked focusing on people and their accomplishments. That's the kind of journalist I always have been. However, since 2015, I had to get into politics because I knew that the Hildebeest was really, really bad for my country. Kasparov wants to know what are my hobbies, or you're looking at it. I'm a one-woman show, and I've been doing this show for about almost 10 years now. And I lived in here. Let's do a little talk about immigration, if you will, because I do know personally a lot about the immigration situation, especially the fact that I myself am a sort of an immigrant. Well, I was born in the United States, and I was born an American citizen, two American citizens, even though I was adopted. Everybody involved was American in my life. However, when I was in my teens and early 20s, I started to get very concerned about this country, and concerned about the food, and concerned about all the people who were getting fat right in front of me, concerned about the adulteration of the food and the way that people were being told to eat literal garbage and chemicals and out of cans and out of boxes and processed food, and it just seemed wrong to me. Even the drinking of Coca-Cola was upsetting for me because I really thought it was poison. I tried it, I would drink it, and all I could drink were chemicals, and I didn't like it. And I moved to New York City in 1989. Started writing for Nickelodeon for children's television. And I love New York City so much. But I did not love the dirty, disgusting city. And I didn't want to live there. Hi, Nova Scotia. I didn't want to live in New York City long enough to get married and have children. I just didn't think it was safe. I didn't want to raise babies there. I didn't want to have babies there. It was fun for me to be a, young 24 years old, flying around the city. I had a great time. And working in television, super, super fun. I always had fun. However, I always wanted to be a mom. That was my greatest aspiration. No, there was no career. There was nothing that was more important to me than having children. So I moved to Switzerland. I didn't really plan to move to Switzerland. I just went there. I had never been to Europe. I had never seen the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, and I wanted to. And when I went there, I did end up falling in love with the Swiss, man, and moving to Switzerland and having my babies in Switzerland. And it was everything that I hoped it would be. With the food was fresh. I lived right down the street from a farm. If I needed eggs and the grocery store was closed, I could go down to the farm and knock on the door, and the farmer's wife would literally pull eggs out from under a chicken and give them to me. They're like little box kind of places on the street with farmers, corn and tomatoes and fresh veggies, and you could buy them, and it was on the honor system. You paid for it and you bought it, and there was not even anybody there. The money was right there. Nobody stole it. Everybody knew that was your, you don't mess up a good thing. One person can ruin everything. But Switzerland was the kind of society that I was looking to raise my children in, a place where people were fit and friendly, and the old people in Switzerland, they lived in their own old people communities. Hello, UK. Look, I'm all over the world today. And I'm talking about the world. So anyway, the old people in Switzerland, if they live in an old person community, it's because they want to live in the old person community. It's not a nursing home. It's not people in wheelchairs who can't move and are very sick. It's people who don't want children around. It's people who want to have fun, and people who walk for exercise and all sorts of stuff. And I love that kind of a life. When I left Pittsburgh in late 1980s, and my mom was very obese. Her boyfriend, they didn't walk anywhere. They had diabetes. They were quite sickly. Their lives were just really around their great big refrigerators and all their food, and I love them dearly, but the food thing really bothered me. I felt that American food was being poisoned, and it turns out I was right. It turns out, did you know that the cigarette companies actually, when they got in trouble for the addictive quality of their products, that instead of closing up shop, they went and they bought food companies and made them addictive so that people would eat crappy food. And I don't think it was even a matter of, we're going to make people really sick. It was more a matter of, we're going to create more customers for the pharmaceutical companies. And of course, we'll sell lots of this food, and it has a long shelf life because it's pumped full of chemicals. Well, the people in Europe really had a lot of disdain for this type of living, and so did I. And that's why I had my babies in Switzerland and raised them there too, until I got to a point where, I don't know, something happened in my family. I'm not going to go into the personal stuff, but anyway, I never thought I'd be able to go back to America, because I do love America and miss my family and my friends so much. And I ended up moving back to America. But here's the funny part. Hi, Pamela. So before I moved back to America, I had both of my children in Switzerland, gave birth to them there, and they were naturalized American citizens. So right away, as soon as each one of my kids was born, I wrote to the embassy. I took them to the embassy, and I made sure that my children were naturalized. And of course, hi, Barbara, I knew that my children could never run for president because they were naturalized Americans, but, whatever. They were Americans. My children, we called them Smericans. There's Swiss and American. Born in Switzerland, dad Swiss, mom American. That's called a third culture child, for those of you who aren't aware that children raised by parents from two different cultures are called third culture children. And they're a very, very special group of people. So anyway, I had my third culture children. Now in Switzerland, even though I had lived there since I think I was married in 1990, and my kids were born in 1990. No, wait, was I married in 1992? Yeah, I was married in 1992. I moved there in 90. Married in 1992, and yeah, I had my daughter in 93 and my son in 96. So anyway, by the time 97 rolled around, I believe I was then eligible for becoming a Swiss citizen. Very difficult to become a Swiss citizen. And just marrying a Swiss person is not enough to make you a Swiss citizen. Also, having children in Switzerland, not enough to make them Swiss either. But my children were Swiss because their father was Swiss. So anyway, I actually had to go through a huge process to become Swiss. And I didn't have to give up my American citizenship. I never would have done that if I had. But anyway, I had to finally, ultimately go in front of a panel of Swiss people, my neighbors, and I had to prove to them that I had assimilated into their society. I had to speak the language, the dialect language fluently, which Lord knows how I pulled that one off. But I did. I had to speak the language fluently, and I had to really be part of my community. And you know, Eric, if you're bored, then just move along. You don't have to tell me that you're bored. I really don't care. So anyway, I decided to go for citizenship, and in the process, you know, I'm put through this rigorous control of making sure that I would be a good Swiss citizen. And ultimately, they asked me this question: what do you do for your community? I told them, well, I'm a writer and I help people who come from other countries that speak English to have their babies here and to kind of assimilate like that. And they looked at me like I had three heads, and they were like, no, yeah, we don't care. They said, what else do you do? I said, I volunteer at kindergarten twice a week. They said, oh, das ist gut. Willkommen zu der Schweiz. Welcome to Switzerland. So having my kids, oh yeah, they helped me to become a Swiss citizen. So I got the citizenship. And like I said, my family then had to move to America in 1999. And even though I had dual citizenship, and so did my children, my husband did not. So he had to actually get the green card to come over. And he was not automatically an American because he was married to an American. So it turns out that I also wasn't as an American as I thought, because my country, the great United States of America, where I was born, told me that I could not bring my naturalized children and my Swiss husband back to America unless we were sponsored. That's right. They were worried that the Swiss Americans were going to become a drain on the American society. So my grandparents had to literally open up all their books and sponsor us. So if we ever became destitute or broke or whatever, that we had backup through my grandparents. So, you know, not so easy to come back to my own dang country. So when I see illegal immigration happening, I'm pretty mad about it, you know, because even I had to go through a very rigorous immigration control just to come here with my family, even though I was already American. Thank you, Barbara. So it wasn't easy, you know, and it never should be easy it should have been easy for me. I mean, come on, really, I'm as American as they come, but it should not be easy to become the citizen of another country. If you're just there to, for instance, like the people who are here, they're being brought in to vote. And they don't even know what they're voting for. You know, I can vote in Swiss elections, but I don't because I have no idea who these people are. I can't even, you know, my reading German, it's not good. I learned how to speak Swiss German, and that's a dialect, so I really don't speak High German, and I can read it a little bit, like I get by, but, you know, but I can't vote in their elections. I never would, because I would be so uninformed. It just would be ridiculous. So yeah, anyway, that's my story about immigration, and the reason why I believe that if you want to immigrate to another country, you need to follow the rules, and you need to prove to all the people around you that you want to be an American. So the stories coming out of Ohio and many other communities all over the United States where they are shipping in migrants who don't speak the language and don't have the same culture. And then they can't believe there's a clash. And then they want to call us bigots or racist or whatever. It's so not fair. And it makes me think that what's been happening in England is actually coming here to America because the people over there, Michigan too, exactly. But the people in England are being called racist when they get angry about these migrants that have actually been, they call them grooming gangs, and they have been using the children for unspeakable, you know what I'm talking about. So that's been a huge problem. The kids who are used in this way by these migrants are usually not believed when they complain or when they go to the police and they're told to shut up and sit down. And just now it's coming out that these grooming gangs are widespread and they have been abusing English children for many, many years. There's a person here that I'm going to have to send over to my gators because that's really gross what you are saying. Really disgusting. I don't know why some people have to like just be so sick, but anyway, splash. Gator bait. I don't really let the trolls bother me. I don't care about Eric because he's just dumb. Anyway, I am headed over to the East Coast today and got some cool things up for the weekend. So I'm not going to give you a preview because, the weather could be iffy, but one has to do with boats. So we'll see what happens. Exactly, Carolyn. My gators get hungry, they got to be fed. So we always need them. Oh, hello, Jesus is God. I love it. I love your name. And yeah, you love my hat. And I love that you love my hat too. And by the way, if you guys didn't know, this hat was given to me by President Trump. I didn't exactly get it from his hands, but he gave it to the Secret Service and the Secret Service gave it to me. So, yeah. You know what, Barbara? Single girls need to be careful everywhere. You can get thrown into a car at any moment, and I know this is a fact because it happened to me once too. And it's happened about 9 years ago. I had just moved to Fort Lauderdale, and I want to say I was mugged, but I wasn't really mugged. I was kidnapped. Only they didn't kidnap me because I'm a problem. I started screaming at the top of my lungs, call 911, call 911. And the kidnappers, and there were two of them, and they had a car, so pretty sure, they were going to pull me into that car. Why else? Anyway, yeah, they dragged me off the street and tried to put me into a car. And so I screamed, call 911. They were silent, super silent. But not me, super loud, and they ended up throwing me away. It was scary, but at the same time, I feel like, you know what, it wasn't my time. And God gave me this very big mouth. I know, I agree, Jesus, but I didn't have anything to defend myself at the time, but I did have my voice. And, sometimes your voice is all you need. Oh, Kenneth said he's noticing influx of migrants in Indianapolis. Well, we've always had them here in Florida, but yeah, it does seem to be getting worse. And there are times I walk around, I don't even know what country I'm in. It's really crazy. But, Jesus, you never know. Your big mouth can save your life. It did save mine. So, and, you're right. You're right. Us girls, they can pull us into a car at any minute. I'm not big. I'm 5'4", little person. Pew! That's what they did. I mean, it was two black men. Sorry, that's what color they were. I'm just gonna say it. I was never attacked by a white person, but there's still time, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I don't know where they came from, but I survived it, and here I am, and if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Just ask President Trump. So before I go, I'm going to play that song. because I think we need to hear it. Let me look for my new favorite song. Okay, so this song is produced by my friends over at the First Generation Band. I want it to be everybody's favorite song. Hi, Dave. That's right, always scream, Barbara.
There's a billionaire who really cares to make America great again. They threw everything at him that they can, but there he is, he took a stand. The Russian collusion, oh, what a joke. Impeachment hearing from the woke. January 6th, that was the biggest lie. They were reaching for that blue sky. What doesn't kill him makes him stronger. The world is wondering how much longer. What doesn't kill him makes him stronger. Oh yeah. The New York trial, it wasn't fair. They pulled all the charges from thin air. They tortured that man 8 long years, enough to bring our country to tears. When all else failed, they took a shot. They missed their target, but not by a lot. Trump is doing this for you and me, so all Americans can be free. Oh yeah. What doesn't kill him makes him stronger. The world is wondering how much longer. What doesn't kill him makes him stronger. Oh yeah. What doesn't kill him makes him stronger. The world is wondering how much longer. What doesn't kill him makes him stronger. Oh yeah, yeah.
This is my favorite part. Get ready, get ready.
Come on, people. Let's make America great again.
All right, you guys tell me, you think Trump is back on live? Well, let's look. Let's see. Let me see. Did he come back? Why? I don't think so. You might be watching the rerun from before. Rally in Las Vegas. President Trump's in Las
How your
Vegas.
faith has helped you throughout this mission, and whether
astronauts stuck in space. It's crazy. Ooh, baby, baby, it's a wild world, right? Yes, I don't think he's live now, Barbara. I think that was from right before. Anyway, all right, you guys. I'm going to say ciao for now. We'll see you on the next Beach Report. So everybody, born to be wild indeed. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Let's go into the weekend with happy faces, and you will definitely see me later, Ken. Love you guys, and ciao for now. Arrivederci.